And welcome to Flexible Games, where we are playing Transport Fever. Well, we finished our Billionaire series, and I would like to show how to add mods to existing saves. So we can go to Load Game, and here's all the autosaves. Wow, there's way more autosaves in here than I thought there would be. I'm going to need to go purge some of those. Anyway, we have a few different save games in here, and this is me just futzing around with the different kind of extreme things that I do in games like this. Really do a lot of experimenting and testing and seeing how all the mechanics work. So Trillionaire, you can see my balance is 68 billion, and I realized to get to $1 trillion I need 1,000 billion. So even if I was making $1 billion a year, that's 1,000 years that I would really have to do that. So if we look at our regular series, this is I've been playing this series with 0 mods, no mods at all, and I will make available the mods, or not the mods, I will make available the saved game. Look for that download in the description. So to add mods to this, you just use this little plus sign that's over here. And this allows you to add mods. This gives you all of the mods that you have subscribed to or downloaded, and shows you everything. So all you need to do is click on a mod and click the arrow, just like that. And that adds the mod. Now, some of these mods are dangerous to add later in a game. One example of this is, let's see if I can find it in this list, Track Rules Plus. Okay, so adding this mod to a game gives you a warning. Okay, if you add it, removing this mod from a saved game is also dangerous. So you want to be very, very careful with which mods you add to a saved game. Now that error, let's go back and then go back into it again, so it makes sure that I'm not adding that. So if I look at, let's say Metropolis, this is the one I want to load to show you. This got $40 billion, and we are at 2016. So this is my test world. This is the save that I'm trying to grow a city as big as I can, and do so kind of outside the bounds of vanilla. So I just wanted to see, really big cities, how hard it was to keep up with them. And in this one, I have that track mod. Now this adds a bunch of different levels of track. So if you load this mod into your save, or if you start a game with this mod, and that's what I suggest you do not want to add this mod to an existing save. Start a game with this mod. Removing this mod after you've placed a bunch of these rails will likely crash the game, because those rails won't exist if you remove the mod. However, some of these are removable as long as you haven't built any of the items in the game. So if we look at, go to advanced options, like the flirt. The flirt is just a train. So if you don't have any of the trains running in your world, removing it will just remove the entry. However, if you do have things running, if you do have some of these running in your game, it will likely crash because those vehicles don't exist anymore. I'm not sure how the game handles when it no longer has access to a asset like that. So we can see all of these different things. I even have a logo that a little mod that I made, a little logo for myself. And I will do a small tutorial episode on how to make your own logo. And the logo I will show you as soon as we load this up. So let me start this. I will cut out the loading screen just because it's going to take a couple minutes to load this save because there's a lot of trains and a lot of stuff going on. So I will be right back. All right, we are back. The game is loaded. Now, this might seem like cheating, but again, I'm not playing this to get a challenge out of it. I'm playing this to try to grow a city. And as such, I just picked a spot in the US to pull names from. And here we have a very flat map. So I'm going to hide all of the labels so you can just see the map. It is a completely flat map, no water, and no industries spawned. And I controlled where the cities spawned. So I only have like more than 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 9. I have like 9 cities on this map. And playing around with the different mechanics, seeing if an airport will help grow a city, that kind of stuff. The main city I have in here is not this one. Is this beast here, my first skyscraper. So this city here is relatively large. This is like 4,000 people. Well, actually I think it's over 4,000 now. And this city here is just massive. And this is not a commercial building. This is a residential building. And there are 216 people living here. Now, one thing I've learned is cities tend to grow around your stations. So yes, they grow in the peripherals, but they really like to grow on the station. This station was on the edge of town when I built it, and now we've got all of this growth down here. So another thing that you want to do, let's see, stations, bus and tram stops. So as a city grows, you're going to want to increase the number of stops that you put, because if we look at the building value, and this really controls, you can see the building value here is $800 per square meter. The building value really dictates how dense your population can grow. And as you can see, everywhere you have a stop, here's a stop here, and we got a lot of building value right around it. Whereas up here, there's not much. So you can really start to go onto the peripherals a little bit and grow your city that way. As long as your routes are well done, you'll be able to grow it that way. Another thing that I've had to do is, let's do stations. So we have stations, and see how many people are waiting here? I've grown the city up to a point where I've got this connected to these cities back here. So I've got 5 going across. I've got 2 up above here. And I've got, I think, 3 down here. There's one there, there's one there, and there's one there. I wanted fewer cities just to see if I can grow. I really want to challenge it and see if I can't fill this map with city. It might take 1,000 years, but that's one challenge. And I can start doing that by adding more passenger stations to the outsides of these cities to start growing them in that direction. So you can see this city has also grown past where this station is. And that's kind of the first step on growing a city. This city up here was the last city that I added to any connections at all. And the difference is quite remarkable on how fast a city grows with no connections. This is a no connection city. This over here is a connected city. It's got one connection, but no goods delivered. So there's nothing being delivered, no no fuel, no nothing into this city. And it's grown quite a bit. You can see around this station, it's really exploded out here. But it's not nearly as good as this city, which is getting goods. It's connected to 2 different cities. It's getting all of the goods that it wants except goods. It's the one chain that I haven't built yet. And this city in the middle is connected to most of the other cities, either directly or indirectly. So I've got a line coming down over to here. I've got this one connected to the middle, which is connected to this one. And this one is also connected up to here. And this city is also connected to this one, to this one, and to this one. So getting quite a lot of cities connected really builds up the growth fast. And then this one is also getting all of the materials. So I've set up all of these. I've actually built all of these industries. Like I said, there were no industries on this map when I loaded it up. So one of the mods I have adds this industry button, and you can actually build industries yourself. Because again, I just wanted to test to see if the growth patterns, the growth speed, all of that stuff. Let's see if I can get. Let's see. No, that'll just be too much information. So I've had to place all these industries, and I did it in a way that makes me money. I'm making a pretty substantial amount, almost $2 billion a year with this map, and I haven't even added goods yet, and I only have a fraction of goods being delivered. So the other thing I had to do in late game, these cities demand so much material that one industry just isn't going to cover it. So you can either use multiple industries, or one of the mods I added adds, it tweaks industries to have larger growth limits. So you can see this actually, normally industries max out at 1600, but this mod makes it so they start at 800, then they go to 1600, then they go to 3200, then they go to 6400, and then they go to 12,800, and 12,800 is their new max. And I found that they can deliver stuff to stations pretty fast. I thought that was a big limiting factor, but look how fast he's delivering to this station. So they can actually deliver 2 stations pretty fast as long as they've got materials. And so I've really been testing out how all of this stuff works and how it's all connected. And it really gives me ideas for legitimate playthroughs in how to grow cities a little more effectively. Another thing I did with these flirt, this is the modded flirt. It's kind of annoying sound, so I'm going to back away a little bit. One of the things I had to do for late game is the flirt, especially, only comes around in like 2011, so these are brand new. And I as the game progressed, as my cities grew, the number of passengers around and in my stations exploded. So I had 800, 900, 1,000 people waiting in my stations. I would need 5 or 6 trains per line to run that. And yes, it's possible. You can do that. But one of the things I did is I went in and modded the flirt to hold 475 passengers. I also modded it to go 199 miles an hour. So this thing is cruising, and it's a the late game solution to these high throughput stations that I have. And again, with my trucks, you can see this is a Freightliner. It's got 50 because I've got so much material being dumped into this cargo spot that I need a ton of trucks. And there's only so many trucks that you could filter through here at any given time. So I really needed the capacity to be able to move all of this material. So I just modded the cargo space of a truck. And for some reason, the cargo in the model file is actually 4 times what you see in here. So that is actually set to 200, which gives me 50 cargo. I'm not sure why there's a discrepancy, but there is. So just be aware, if you want 50 items of cargo, you're going to need to set your cargo space to 200. Likewise, your speeds and everything are also in kilometers an hour. So if you're used to miles per hour, you'll either have to convert or just use kilometers an hour. Now that track, these are all modded track. And what I did is I looked at, here's all the different levels of track. I don't know why you would want all of these different increments, but if you go towards the end here, you can see they get pretty high, very high, and then there's this last one. And this last one in the file itself is like the speed of light. I mean, they made the speed just so fast. But I noticed in the game, it only goes to 667. So there must be a cap to how fast rail can be that's hard-coded in the game. So just be aware of that. 667 miles an hour is the max, which, granted, is obscenely fast. But if anybody is out there wanting to really tweak an engine to go fast, that's going to be your upper limit. Now, another thing I did to test that little trick is, let's see if I can find a depot. There's one. I also added the NSB smaller, the smaller ones, and I modded this one to also go 199 miles an hour, and I modded it to have obscene amounts of horsepower and tractive effort, because it's a late game. I'm already multi-billionaire by the late game, and I just want to see how fast I can move material. Just exciting to see. So I went in and changed the other NSBs, the later game ones that come out in the mid or early 2000s. So this one, you can see 211,000 horsepower, 50,000 tractive effort, 62,000 miles per hour. Now, I haven't ever built this one. I haven't built one of these to actually test it. So I'd like to do that. I'd like to test that obscenely fast engine and see just how fast it gets up. So we're going to want a long-ish track. And let's see. I think this line here might be no, that's too short. I mean, this would be perfect, but I've got to flirt on that. So let's just create a line. And I just want to test this out. I want a high-speed line. I don't need 320. I need one track. Catenary, yes. Let's build one there. And we're going to go on the other side of the map. This is like what I do. This is testing and at its best right here to see just how fast these trains can get. So I'm just going to stretch. And yes, the frame rate does hitch when you're dragging a whole lot of track, because it's having to solve and calculate the three-dimensional vectors for all of this track. So you can place it in segments, but I'd rather not. I'd rather place it all at once so it's all smooth. Okay, let's go out. My frame rate is not liking me right now. Computer's like, what are you doing? Just connect. Place. Places all of that track, which is what we want. And we are just going to build a little bit of a depot right here. And you are perpendicular to what I just placed. And I want, first, a line. New line. From here to here. From Denver to Winterfell. We're just going to keep it at line 1 just fine. I want to buy that engine. I think this is, yep, this is the engine. We're going to buy it. We are going to set the line to line 1. And let's see just how fast this thing can go. And it probably will max out at 667. Oh, yes. Look at that. Oh, yes. Go. Keep going. Diminishing returns. Oh, now we're slowing down. That wasn't long enough. That wasn't long enough to max that out. Because now it has to slow down as it approaches the station. Oh, hitch. I don't know why it's really doing a slow. Yes, I know. Winterfell and Denver are not connected to the streets. I could connect them to Narnia, but I don't think so. Okay, so this thing, I mean, it's able to go 62,000, so I don't know why. Maybe that 667 is just a limit of the UI, the circle. Maybe that's way higher and it just can't display it right. But if that was the case, it should be all 9s. It should be 9999. Unless it's 667,000 something miles an hour. That's possible too. Because I know the config file, the file for the track itself is like 1 billion kilometers an hour. I mean, there's really no limit technically on it. But I loved how fast that thing sped up. And granted, something this fast, you don't have any. You don't have any wagons that you could pull that fast. You'd have to go in and mod the wagons, which I did. I went in and modded the wagons to max out at 199. So it looks like about 565 miles an hour it maxes out at. That's a shame. I don't have a long enough map to even test that. I'm going to need to pause it to even click on this thing and go to depot. Oh, click. All right. Well, that was a good test. I wanted to show a little about what the engine was capable of, a little of what you can do as far as mods are concerned, and have a little fun and maybe a little more sandboxy game than maybe what you'd want. So I don't really do series based on this because I don't think, as far as feedback goes, I haven't heard a lot of people wishing for sort of fanciful series like this. So I really don't, I don't indulge in showing off this kind of play. But it is fun. I mean, it's fun to have an engine that has, I don't know, what is this? 200,000 horsepower. It's kind of fun to have a futuristic engine like that. But that might be fun for me, and it might not be for you. So again, I kind of go off of what the viewers look for, what they want. And we got a lot of trucks backing up here. You need to get a move on. This is the spacing that I was talking about. Anyway, that will do it for this episode. So I thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.